Hey everyone, this is Zohair with OzoneTCG, and today we have Ozone player Ryan Ortiz, who recently won his local Back to Duel tournament. If you like this deck or want to pick up cards, be sure to check out our TCG player affiliate, link in the description below. Ryan, what deck did you play and how'd you do at this event?
I played Dinomorphia, the best trap deck in the format, and I got a tie for first. So technically I ended up in second, but first and second got the match, so I did get the play.
Nice. Let's get into the deck list.
All right. So we got 3 Ash, 3 Diplos, 3 Theresia. So 9 monsters is fine. You need to max out on each of the Dinomorphia names, so that way you have your fodder for the fusions left in the deck. And Ash is just generic enough and a way to make Psychic and Punisher that it's pretty much standard in a lot of lists. A lot of people aren't playing hand traps in this deck, but I think you do. I'll get more to that towards the end. For
Sure.
spells, we had 1 Called By, 1 Fossil Dig, 2 Duality, and 3 Prosperity. So 5 pots is perfectly fine and applicable because in this deck you have to dig for stuff to be able to like break boards. So when approaching a trap deck like this, you have to build it to be able to go second game 1. You need to be able to be on the draw game 3 if possible. You want to just win that game 1 so you can crux game 2. I'll get more on theory towards the end, but that's what the pots are for, because they could dig for pretty much all your trap cards. Because if you notice, a lot of the trap cards in this deck are dedicated to kind of going second, or summoning the fusions help you go second as well.
Okay.
Duality is there to help you dig, and the 1 Fossil Dig might be a little bit weird, but the 1 Fossil Dig is basically part of I don't know, I think it was Zohair here that ran the math, and 7 normal summons is fine in a deck like this. So you don't want to open too many monsters in this deck, or you're going to kind of lose the game. Like, if you activate Prosperity and you need a monster, Fossil Dig increases your chances of seeing whatever you need. And like late game, if you need to dump something, you can grab Diplos with it and dump it, or it's just your Marionetter, which is the Theresia, and just set something. So onto the Dinomorphia traps,
Yeah.
you have 1 Alert, 2 Brute, 3 Domain, and 3 Frenzy, and 3 Sonic. Or sorry, 2 Sonic. So everything here is pretty standard except for the 1 Alert. People are cutting it or going back and forth on whether it's right. Ritual Beast Ambush is a very, very good card. Now, it's kind of funny when I play this deck because people are like, oh, what does that do? And I say, it's a Ritual Beast Ambush. And people don't know what that means. It kind of just dates how long I've been playing this game. The one guy that I said it's a Ritual Beast Ambush to, he's like, oh, like double-edged sword technique? I'm like, dude, you've been playing this game longer than me, clearly. But you know what the 6th Samurai card is. So, yeah, it's basically summon 2 back. It's an advantage card in a tempo swing, and it's how you actually make like Logia, Dolka, and the extra deck stuff, and it gets you a lot of advantage. And flipping it on your opponent's turn and then copying it again with Theresia is just free real estate. You can also just summon back Rex with Kentrigino with it. Then for non-Dinomorphia traps, you have 2 Ferret Flames. The card's a godly. I would be playing 3, but I'll get to why I'm only playing 2 in a second. 3 Gozen. So the Floodgate builds of this deck, I think are like not correct. So the thing about Eldritch is your guy's big on his own. You can flip a Floodgate, summon a Lord, turn it off whenever you need, and punch people. But if you're playing Drain in this deck and you can't access your fusion, your guys are tiny. Your guys are small. So since your guys are small, you kind of just lose if your opponent has 1 bigger monster than you. So that's why I think Drain's incorrect. It's only good when you have a way to a fusion. And if you don't have a way to a fusion, you kind of lose the game. That would be... Rivalry would be the next Floodgate I would consider, but it does nothing to Sword Soul, which is your hardest matchup that I've found. And if it did something to Sword Soul, I'd play both of them main. Then 3 Imperm. So 3 Imperm is important because one of the other harder matchups is Drytron that I've realized. They just do too much, and all their follow-up is in the graveyard. So that's why they're able to basically pump out a board so fast. And since they can pump out a board, distribute, and they have the Herald as well to like negate stuff, Ruler is kind of the death of this deck. Because it's hard to like access what you need like fully if they go first. So Imperm is there to turn off like floodgate monsters. You can turn off Empin with it, and it's just good to have like another counter trap or fallback if you really need it. 3 Judgment, 3 Strike. Judgment's cool. I mean, it's a trap deck. Like, what do you want? Stop Blackout if you go first. Stop Key normal summons. And Strike might seem a little risky in this, but it's ironically, it's not even mainly for the like being Strike. It's there to protect your fusions, your trap cards from Ash. So a lot of people are trying Gravedigger's Trap Hole, and I think that card's cool. I think it's really nice. I bought a playset of Secret for like the reason of playing it in the future. But we need a slower format for that card to be good, and I still would rather play Strike over it. I've never actually resolved Stealth Bergia to protect, and my life points from like being able to activate when I'm under. But the card is there, and it protects what you need. As long as you play it correctly, you should be good. And okay, so this is why my deck's at 43. I'm playing 2 Trap Trick. Now, a lot of people think you should keep like a trap deck at like 40, especially like this. But I realized the way you win the game is by having 2 fusion traps. Because a lot of the time, the first one's going to get negated or ashed or whatever. Having Trap Trick turns Trap Trick into Ferret Flames to white boards. It turns it into Brute to pop cards. It turns it into Imperm. I've done that before just to out like a Vanity Roller. It turns it into whatever you need in order to basically increase the chances of seeing a fusion trap. And the big thing is your pots turn into whatever you need if you hit a trap trick. So it's essentially a way to see more cards in your deck. It's kind of like when I was playing 60 card Eldritch a long time ago. People said, I don't want to banish my Sanguines off of trap trick. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. You see Sanguine, you see Lord, you play the game, you win. If I see a trap card diffuse and I get Kentragina out and I start floating through my control and I'm able to keep the tempo up and swing the game in my favor, I win. This deck is kind of a razor's edge because you're paying half your life every time. But if you know what you're doing with it, you shouldn't care about being at 4 life points. You should not go into time unless your opponent is playing like a super grindy deck or playing slow or things go like, haywire. But if you know what you're doing, I can kill people in like 3 turns if I know what I'm doing with this deck. Most of the time in this deck is spent with people actually just reading the cards. Essentially, let's move on to the side or extra. Which one do you want?
Let's go with the extra first.
Alright, for the extra, we have 3 Kent, 3 Rex, and 3 Stealth Bergia, or sorry, 2 Stealth Bergia. A lot of people say you need 3 Stealth Bergia, but I've never needed the extra material. I like to just keep 1 Bergia left if I need it. But essentially, what I've learned is you can always just send a Rex to summon a Rex and have the 2nd Rex left. Sorry, the 3rd Rex left. Kent is good, Rex is good, and Bergia, I'm going to be honest, I've never summoned Bergia. Like, literally never summoned it. Are
there any matchups where this comes up in specific?
I mean, the funniest thing I've ever done is Lava Golem somebody, summoned it on my turn, and then domed them with the effect when I burned them with Lava Golem. So I killed them with 4,000 damage. That's the funniest thing I've ever done, but I still had game anyway. I just wanted to kind of style on people.
Okay.
But it's just a meme.
Would this be like a flex spot in the future?
No, 2 is not a flex spot. The 3rd is the flex spot.
Okay.
So I opted to play other stuff. Because the extra deck, besides like those 8 and like the Logia Dolka, are kind of just like mandatory. Oh, and maybe the Psychic End Punisher, which I still haven't made, but it's not a format for hand traps in this deck, like realistically. Psychic End Punisher is cool, but again, you need a level 3 hand trap and you need Rex. And considering Branded Lost is always up, you're not going to be able to bell them. And there's no other good level 3 hand trap right now besides Ash. Realistically, Ogre's okay, but not enough coverage for a deck like this. That End Punisher rarely comes up. But in theory, it's supposed to be insane. Like, so for the seeds, I'll skip over the Arc Rebellion for a sec.
Okay.
But we got Logia, Dolka, Baguska. Baguska's never come up, but it's just there. I mean, Plan B, dude. There should be a Tornado Dragon in here, or a Dugares. There's like that last spot that I'm trying to figure out. Dark the Dark Charmer is good. It was good when Verte was in the format, because you could just slurp up Verte and then make an access code with it. But there's not really a lot of Link 2s in the deck right now. I mean, not a lot of Link 2 Darks in the game right now. So access code isn't really worth playing either. So I opted for the 2 slots that we're going to talk about right now. So that's probably going to be cut, and Baguska could be cut because there's never really an opportunity to get 2 level 4s and be that far ahead.
Right, because you usually have to resolve an alert to get to that point,
yeah.
right?
But by the time you resolve an alert, you're already like ahead in advantage normally. And logging a Dulk card is better to make. So now we'll move on to the package, Raiders Knight and Ark Rebellion. So Raiders Knight and Ark Rebellion are there to out big towers monsters. So essentially, can you scroll down on the effect of Ark Rebellion request? Yeah, so it gains all attack of monsters on the field. This is how you out towers monsters. Like, it's just there to basically kill rival cybers. It's there to kill I don't know, like whatever is really going on. You know, you can negate like an Avramax. You can negate anything big and beefy. Because this deck obviously does have problem with towers.
Yeah.
It's just there as like an out. You just gotta respect it. Because I learned if you're playing rogue, you should definitely respect other rogue. Because usually, if you're playing anti-meta, you could struggle against the other dedicated anti-meta strategies because you're, like tunnel visioning into being the meta. But I like this deck because it has a lot of removal options. Like Brutes, you're out to Mystic Mine, and you can literally trap trick for it. Yeah. Moving on to the side.
Sorry, let's go on to the side.
Okay, so Alpha the Master of Beast is a weird one. I saw it in a profile and I thought it was going to be really good, but I'm realizing the end board of Sword Soul is 50-50. Where I'm from, there's just nothing but Sword Soul and Despia. This deck loves the Punk matchup, it loves the Despia matchup, but Sword Soul is just like an uphill battle for this deck, like really hard. And in order to play through Sword Soul, you have to just know that Blackout is not the end of the world, and just really think about what prioritizing to set up with the reason. So there should be one Pank in there realistically, but when I played, I sound bad, but I left my Pank at home, and I had to pull the third Alpha out of the binder.
It's all good.
Realistically, it should be like an Alpha, a Pank, and the third Token Collector, but I'm probably just gonna cut Alpha entirely and just play the third Raigeki, because Raigeki is like actually kind of dummy in this deck, dummy thick, because you basically just Raigeki because Sword Soul doesn't have any way to beat that, and that turns off their Blackout, and that turns off their Long Wand. It can bake the negate for the Baron. It outs the Chi Xiao. It outs Flender's board. It can out Masquerade if they don't have opening. Again, if you in my side deck, like barring the whole, Storm Duster, which is first or second, niche backer matchups, there's 10 cards dedicated to going second in my side deck. The only 3 dedicated going for 3 anti-spell to out the back row matchups, to out spell cards in matchups where it's necessary, or MST, or anything of the sort. Then you got 3 Lava Golem. This card is actually kind of funny, because if you Prosperity into this against a Despia player, they're going to neg themselves and Mirror Jade banish something so they don't lose it. And it's just kind of free, because then you just normal summon, and you set like a Fusion Trap, and Mirror Jade doesn't suck as bad as I initially thought against this deck. If you Mirror Jade pop it end phase, they're popping like 3 of your monsters, so you just float into every other one in your grave, and you just set up for the kill next turn. Like, Theresia can just set a counter trap, and then it in red you got there, idiot. Like, I'm just gonna negate it. And then you summon a Diplos and plus again. Like, Despia is very winnable, but especially when you're able to play through. Like, Guardian Chimera is kind of funny. Like, I thought about non-ironically playing MST in this deck, just because Cyclone kind of like sucks paying 1,000 life points sometimes. But I think that Storm Duster is just better because in the backer matchups where you want it, it's offensive and defensive, and you can trap trick into it.
Okay. So
hopping 2 against Lich is pretty nice, because you don't care about Lich coming out, because Rexstrom always beats Lich as long as Drain's not up. 2 token collector. It should have been 3, and it should probably be 3 Raigeki. So that's probably
Okay.
the change I'm gonna make. Um, Nothing really more to say. Raigeki's kind of funny because everyone memes on it for being Raigeki, but Raigeki is just like a one-sided board wipe. Like, why would you not just want to wipe boards? Because a lot of the format right now, barring like the punk decks, don't make hard negation. Like Sword Soul, I don't know if you know from experience, but I'm seeing everyone in my area make Long One and Chisha. But yesterday, like all 3 of my opponents, not even know what I was playing, started with Baron and Cheese Chow at the other locals I went to, and I'm like, dude, what is up with this? Like, they can't decide on a board to make. So I don't know if there's like a really consensus on what the best board to make is, but it's good because it deals with the negate. And in the world where they make the Chi Xiao Long One, you only take 1200 damage, and they turn off the blackout. And if you know blackout's there and you have a way to fusion trap, you can set Sonic safely. Then 3 anti-spell, because it's like the best floodgate, but only going first. I think that's my personal opinion. Like, I think summon limits also just godly insane, but only going first. And another thing is, I don't like cards that are only good going first. Judgment's a little bit different in that regard, because Judgment is like backing up a board to protect yourself from like the red reboot on the clap. Because sometimes if they go first, you're still going to side in red reboot.
It
You
also
can
makes
flip it.
your Rex term a lot better, right?
Yeah, it makes Rex a lot better paying half, because this is how you just kill people. Because some people don't even know it's like during damage steps, so you can just pay half and just punch people real fast. And then Storm Duster was like kind of a last minute decision, but I actually really like that card. Yeah, deck is great. I feel like this is just the way to play it. You want to maximize consistency with your pots and trap trade, and be able to play through boards as opposed to stop them from making the boards in the first place. You don't load up on hand traps, you load up on board breakers and hard turn enders like token collector, sorry. My brain stopped. And just play the deck in a manner that is able to efficiently operate on a go second basis, while
Okay.
still being able to have the best go first in the game.
Thanks again
And
so
yeah,
much for doing the deck profile. This is
no
Zohair and
problem.
Ryan with OzoneTCG. Thanks for watching.